In the last video, we left off with the outline of the 7 modules in the online range conference. So if you didn't catch that second video or the first one, they are linked in the show notes, and you'll need to review those before you get into the details here so you have proper perspective. So let's get into the deliverables that may not be so apparent within the schedule or the outline that I just showed. And that is, what are the deliverables, and then some bonus offers as you consider whether or not it's right for you to make this investment in your indoor shooting range. The first step in the process within Module 1 is to order and get our hands on a National Shooting Sports Foundation demographic report. They call it a CRM, customized CMR, customized market report. Do not go and buy it. I will give you guidance specifically on setting the parameters for that report. I will encourage you to join if you're not already a member, but I'll cover that in our next steps here at the end of this video. But one of the deliverables within the range conference, the supporting documents for your budget and pro forma, is that demographic report. Second is a set of reports that I will provide to you in addition to and separate from the NSSF's report, and that is a comparison, if necessary, of sites within your market, one to the other. Which is better and why is an important benchmark of knowledge and information to have, so that you, your partners, your investors, your lenders know why you're located, where you're going in town, relative to other gun ranges, relative to the rooftops or daytime population. All of those elements need to be taken into account, and we will do that. Second is a comparison of your range location in your market to ranges in other markets across your state or across the country. I have flexibility to provide you with a comparison from different locations, and we will pinpoint a specific set of addresses for that purpose. It gives you the opportunity to explain. I want to take away, by just for perspective here, take away the idea or the notion that you have to go into this process convincing people, convincing yourself, convincing your equity partners, just let's make sure that you have the foundational elements so that you're simply informing them of what constitutes this great opportunity. Why do that? Well, nobody wants to argue. You can't force people. Going into a conversation thinking you're going to convince someone of something is not a position of empowerment or confidence from my perspective. If you have the knowledge and can convey that information succinctly, then they're either right for the opportunity or they're not. It's kind of like the range conference here. You're either right for it or you're not. I'm not trying to convince you or force you to do it. I don't want you to participate if it's not a right fit for you. So moving on, the unique opportunity that the range conference offers that is not available otherwise is the formation of a new community for you, which is people who are going through this same process at the same time with the same objective somewhere else in the country. It's what I hope is a peer group that will be a long-lasting set of relationships. And of course, I'm going to be providing you with feedback and guidance and input and answering your questions, providing you with strategies. But there may be other people who have different professional experiences or relationships or have done additional knowledge or additional research and have knowledge that you're not aware of. And so there's an opportunity within the platform that I'm having developed and constructed in this digital space that'll allow you to communicate with one another in a secure manner. If you want to, you can participate as much or as little as you want. So the online range conference will also include live weekly Zoom calls to guide and assist and answer your questions. I'm going to release Module 1 in October is the time frame right now, late October. And Module 1 gets released. You're going to get a series of shorter videos than these to explain and give guidance on the work that needs to be done to answer the key questions and work through those issues very systematically and in the right sequence. But the weekly calls will allow you to submit a question and then hear that answer as a group on the live calls. So deliverables, as mentioned, each module will have examples, files, copies of plans. We will evaluate them together. You'll see them as examples. It'll provide you with insights that, gosh, even if you traveled the country and visited a bunch of ranges, you wouldn't have this perspective and the insight behind, how and why a floor plan works and what are the implications on a given floor plan to your site plan. If you increase your retail square footage by 1,000 square feet, that has a ripple effect across a half dozen issues within your budget and on your site plan. If you don't know what I mean by that, then I suggest the online range conference is probably going to be a good option for you to consider to improve your ability to survive this process. Okay. You will also receive, no additional charge, a unlocked Word document that I will share with you that is the proven, used, repeatedly business plan narrative. I think it's in its current state about 30 pages, includes images, includes all of the key elements that the typical gun range has. And so you can pull out, remove, delete, edit, add, whatever you need to. But that's a proven foundational information that a lender and investor are going to want to see. You should use it as a guiding document. Most people, get it done and then rarely look back and review it, but that's included in the online range conference. And then the budget itself, just so you have some perspective, it's multiple Excel tabs within a spreadsheet that include all of the items mentioned in video 1, and they're all linked together and they get unlocked as we go through the modules, because I don't want you working on your operating expenses when you don't have your building square footage sorted out. How would you possibly know what your operating expenses are if you don't know how many square feet you're going to construct, right? So the adjustable spreadsheet is included. I will also mention within under this subject matter of the budget is whether you're ready now and just anxious to proceed into this process and work through site selection and zoning and build it immediately, or you want to get this work done and then build it later in 2025 or years from now, maybe. You'll have this document that you can utilize and make adjustments to the cost of real estate when you find the right site, the cost, ever-changing variability of costs of shooting range equipment and construction costs. You'll have the flexibility to make those changes along with building square footage and number of shooting lanes if you want to make that change. So next is within the weekly Zoom calls, I will likely, depending on how many of the questions that we have and the time that consumes as our priority, I'll invite outside parties, industry folks to come in and give feedback and guidance and just to teach, learn, and improve your knowledge base of this process and what owning and operating a range looks like. I'll come back to the due diligence checklist, but for now, the final bonus, if you will, is 4 hours of my time after you've completed module 7. So I don't charge hourly except for maybe like 3 times in the past 5 years. I really don't like it for a number of reasons. When I have charged, it's been rather expensive. So I just have a price tag on the hourly at $225 an hour because I just don't like it. So I try to discourage it from happening. But at that value, 4 hours of my time is $900. And I'm here to then support, guide, give guidance, make recommendations after you've completed module 7, no additional charge. So the items in red, I don't think you can find anywhere else. And certainly not, you cannot find them anywhere else in a single bundle or package of offering that is comprehensively linked and tied together in the manner that it's available to you with the online range conference. The real estate due diligence under tab 8 there, that checklist, I don't mean to overwhelm you, but it is 500 line items long. And it seems hard to believe that there might be that many issues with a raw land site. You're going to go buy 2 acres, 3 acres, 5 acres. How can there be 500 items on a checklist? It's legit, and I will provide it to you, and it will serve you well in the process of evaluating your real estate and getting through your due diligence during your contract period. So all that documentation and information and ability to leverage your knowledge and your relationships after the online range conference is included. So let's talk about the investment in your range. In my research and what I have heard people describe to me as kind of an expectation for a business plan for a generic business is between $5,000 and $10,000, $12,000. The niche of a shooting range is going to probably push that cost higher, and you're not going to have it that I'm aware of in a format that gives you the industry data that I've got access to that will live out through your budget documentation and your pro forma. So just as a baseline of modules 1 through 7, the templated narrative business plan, that's some perspective that I think is a fair assessment of what your options might be. Second issue to consider is if your time is more valuable than what the online range conference offers, meaning you don't have a lot of time, but you have the means, then a limited number of you might have interest in engaging me in getting through the online range conference with me working through those issues. I don't like this option for you, nor myself, as much, because once we get into and through each of the modules together, you are not only building out your business model and your pro forma, but you're also building out and rounding out your knowledge of what makes the business work and why. And you're arming yourself with the ability to inform. Again, not convince, not argue, but to you're well equipped to inform and impart that knowledge to others as you encounter them along the way. And that reaches beyond just the investors and your lender. When you start talking to your design team and your architect and your general contractor about how and why you're doing the things you're doing within your building square footage, their insight and recommendations, you will have a more well-rounded perspective on, and you'll be able to say yes or no, or maybe let's explore with much more authority, clarity, and confidence. So the benefit of going through the class together, the conference together, is significant compared to me doing it for you. Okay. So let's talk about price. The value, not the price, but the value is, from my estimation, in that $10,000 range. Okay. That's our starting kind of baseline knowledge, but I'm going to help you realize some savings with this offer. 7 modules, all the deliverables that were mentioned. And then the bonus is that if you refer back to that bigger screen, I don't know if you can read it here, but the National Shooting Sports Foundation report, I will cover the cost myself. The demographic comparison information that we talked about, I will also cover, no additional charge. And then item number 9, these are the 3 items that have a dollar value that I can specifically attach to them, is $900 for a total savings of $2,650. So your price is not $9,800, but the online range conference seat investment you want to make in your gun range is $7,150. Now, if you have interest in moving forward, there is a pre-registration screening form that I have. Should take you 5 minutes to complete. We'll then do a Zoom call to answer questions that you might have. I would like to meet you before we're in this group setting together. And then registration, of course, is by invite only, because I need to know who is in this class, who is in this conference. And your next task, if you will, is simply to join the NSSF. If you've not, look for the startup think that's what they call it. Startup option, it should be less than $200, and that'll get you access to all kinds of recorded presentations that have been done at SHOT Show, at the retail expo that happens every summer the past 4 or 5 years. And then once you're registered, we'll be set up to release Module 1 in October. So look forward to hearing from you and fielding any and all your questions.